happening now. First at noon, Honolulu's prosecutor and police chief are holding a joint press conference to discuss a recent uptick in sex assault cases involving juveniles and the internet. Here's some of what they had to say.
We have predators who are connecting with kids on social media. They're arranging to meet them in person, and then they're sexually assaulting them. This takes place in cars. It takes place in other places. Normally, growing up, parents might worry about the park down the street, or they might worry about a playground, and they watch their kids there. Well, now parents have to do the same thing on social media.
In the last 4 months alone, there have been 12 such cases, which are now in various stages of investigation between the Honolulu Police Department and the prosecutor's office. And these juveniles range from the ages of 11 and 17 years old.
Now, ALM is encouraging parents to get involved and have an open line of communication with their children. They say it's important to know what their children are doing online, who they are talking to, and what they are sharing. The Oahu woman accused of beating to death her 11-year-old adopted daughter pleaded not guilty to manslaughter in court today. 39-year-old Sina Pili was arrested last week Friday and indicted by a grand jury for the 2023 death of Azalea Pili Ayu. Pili adopted Azalea just 2 months before she died. A judge denied bail for Pili because of the seriousness of the charge and concerns about tampering with potential witnesses, including Pili's other children. Her trial is set to begin May 12th. President Trump announced today that he will not back down from 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports. He's also threatening tariffs of up to 200% against some of European imports after the EU put in retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. Erica Brown has more details from Capitol Hill.
Markets continue to tumble, with investors nervous about the economic uncertainty from a looming partial government shutdown.
If there's a shutdown, it's only because of the Democrats, and they would really be taking away a lot from our country and from the people of our country.
Senate Democrats say the 6-month spending bill, known as a continuing resolution, which passed the House Tuesday, would further enable President Trump and Elon Musk to slash the government.
It's going to be things that allow us to cut COPS programs, cut disaster relief, further destroy agencies and departments in ways that undermine safety and well-being is outrageous to me.
They want a 30-day deal in order to negotiate a long-term solution. Trump's plans to cut the size of the government took a hit Thursday when a federal judge ruled the administration unlawfully fired probationary employees across 6 federal agencies last month. Judge William Alsop ordered the Departments of Veterans Affairs, Agriculture, Defense, Energy, the Interior, and the Treasury to immediately offer reinstatement to the employees. The ruling comes the same day the president ordered his cabinet officials to submit plans for deep cuts to their agencies. The White House says the incoming mass reduction in the federal workforce will streamline our broken bureaucracy, save taxpayers millions of dollars, and make the government more efficient for all. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And Hawaii Attorney General Ann Lopez and the AGs from California, Massachusetts, and New York are leading a lawsuit against the Trump administration. They're challenging the recent mass firing of nearly 50% of all employees in the U.S. Department of Education. The announcement was made on a live stream this morning.
It will be catastrophic to Hawaii. Hawaii gets about, just for K through 12, $250 million a year. Those monies go to school lunches in the amount of approximately $70 million a year. It goes to our special ed students to make sure that they are able to attend school with their peers. The idea that the president wants to bring education back to the states is simply an empty talking point.
17 other AGs have joined the lawsuit. Meanwhile, AG Lopez is also part of another lawsuit with 20 attorneys general in an effort to reverse the firings of probationary federal employees. And UH Manoa is one of 60 schools being investigated for Title VI violations. The U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights this week announced the schools are at risk of losing federal funds because they're accused of discriminating on the basis of race, color, and national origin. Now, this follows President Trump's executive order to combat anti-Semitism in response to nationwide pro-Palestine events. UH says it cannot comment on the investigation, but says allegations of discrimination or harassment are taken seriously. And happening now, Congresswoman Jill Tokuda is holding a town hall via Zoom to discuss the impacts of the Trump administration's actions and policies affecting Hawaii. She will also answer questions and plans to make in-person visits to each county beginning next week. For information on the meeting, you can visit the website on your screen. On Kauai, Mayor Derek Kawakami delivered his 7th State of the County address this morning.
Our community, both residents and businesses, have made it clear that the most important challenge that they face is the lack of affordable housing on our island. With credit to our housing agency and many partners, the County of Kauai is now our island's largest affordable housing developer. On the west side, we are nearing completion of Phase 1 of our Limaola Master Plan community in Eleele with 115 rental units and 38 single-family homes for sale. This represents a mix of supportive housing for houseless families, workforce housing, and a senior housing project.
Kawakami says he is proposing an operating budget of nearly $348 million and a capital improvement budget of about $140 million. He says they anticipate a more than 5% increase in revenue over last year. That's about $372 million. We'll have more on the mayor's address online and on later editions of HNN. City officials are considering the idea of selling naming rights for some Skyline rail stations. This is because as more rail stations are added, taxpayer subsidies to operate the system will also rise. But right now, laws against outdoor advertising limit how much advertising the rail and bus systems can sell. At Wednesday's rail budget hearing, the city transportation director said they would like to offer naming rights on some prominent stations, such as the stadium and the airport.
One that we have looked at is, from a sponsorship point of view, is would you be open to a major airline coming and naming one of our stations at the airport after a major airline, for example? That might be, something that that we could sell.
And as long as we put some guide rails on there and appreciate what Outdoor Circle and others are concerned about. But I'm so happy to hear that you're thinking about that, especially inside the bus and inside the trains.
Council Chair Tommy Waters said a bill to expand transit advertising will be proposed. Next year's budget includes nearly $500 million to operate the bus and rail system, and fare revenue pays only a small portion. The federal government says more Oahu property owners need to buy flood insurance, and if you're one of them, you have 90 days to appeal that decision, starting today. Ben Gutierrez has more.
They're guaranteeing that loan, and they need to make sure you're covered in case of a flood.
This is just an additional monthly expense, which could be a few $100s, and that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back for so many families.
This is the current flood risk map for Oahu, and this is the new one, created by FEMA, showing more properties marked in red in elevated flood risk zones, even in Mauka areas. State Representative Diamond Garcia's generally dry district in Kapolei includes new flood zones, including ones very close to Hawaiian homelands.
And they're already dealing with the condo insurance crisis here in Hawaii, and so many residents who are members of townhomes where there's HOAs, they're dealing with big increases in monthly premiums. So
the National Flood Insurance Program allows homeowners, businesses, and renters to buy government-backed flood insurance. The feds say for many forms of disaster assistance, you have to have flood insurance to qualify, and that insurance is required by law. Residents in the new flood zones would also have to follow the city's guidelines for development.
When you go to build, where you build does matter. And most definitely, when you have a flood zone, you have different requirements for building. So that, of course, then adds on to the cost of the home.
Residents have 90 days to appeal changes to their property's flood risk designation.
And my office will also submit a formal appeal as well to FEMA and directly to the new Secretary Kristi Noem, head of DHS. Because I want them to look at these flood zones again. Does it really warrant these zones?
And that was Ben Gutierrez reporting. Let's take a look at our wind speeds outside right now. We've got breezy trades still sticking around today in town, around 21 miles per hour. Honolulu, 24 miles per hour, and overall east-northeasterly flow. But these are expected to get weaker as we're going into the next couple of days. You can see in our first alert windcast that we're going to advance further in time to this afternoon. Still breezy out there as we're going into the overnight hours, around 10 to 15 miles per hour statewide. Relatively weak compared to what we've been seeing each night over the past several weeks. And just a quick look at Friday afternoon. 10 to 15 mile per hour sustained winds. Of course, we could see some wind gusts closer to 20 miles per hour. Good news is we've got a disturbance that's going to be moving in this weekend. We'll see weaker trades on Saturday and Sunday and a better chance for some rain. Easterly winds around 10 to 15 miles per hour. You can see out there by the time we get to around Sunday, we've got an increase in showers. Here's the disturbance off to our northwest, giving us a better chance for some windward and Malco rainfall. We definitely need rain in some portions of the state. So we're going to be tracking this throughout the rest of this first alert forecast. I'll give you the details coming up.
Ahead on This Is Now, first responders are preparing for the spring break surge next week. We have some tips to keep you safe while you're having fun. Plus, 2 NASA astronauts who've been stranded in space for more than 9 months will have to stay a little longer. We'll explain why when we come back. Is spring break for students, not to mention a lot of visitors from the mainland. And that means a lot more people on our roads, in our waters, and on hikes. Casey Lund has advice from first responders who help keep everyone safe.
Aloha from the east side here, just above Hawaii Kai, just shy of Diamond Head, Hanauma Bay, these areas where a lot of tourists come to enjoy what Oahu has to offer. And with spring break just around the corner, it's also an awesome place for a lot of local folks to go get exercise, enjoy the outdoors. And with all those extra people out and about, it's important that we have a conversation ahead of spring break about safety. We have Fire Inspector Carl Otsuka with us from Honolulu Fire Department. Carl, thank you for being with us. We appreciate you. And you know, sometimes we sound like broken records. I know that you folks try to make sure that you message people about being safe. But even if you know know all these things, it's important to kind of just remember, refresh before we have a busy week with a lot of people. Why don't we talk a little bit about the hike that's right behind you? This one's pretty infamous and well known to the department, right?
Right. Cocoa Head is #1 as far as rescues are concerned for the Honolulu Fire Department. Whether you're a tourist or a resident, we will always go up there. If you call 911, you get into trouble, you sprain an ankle, you slip, fall, and you're unable to make it back down, we'll definitely come and get you.
But that's taking away resources that maybe you needed somewhere else, and so it's better to avoid those situations. How are some ways that folks can make sure that they're prepared when they go out on a hike, not only knowing which hike they go on, but what are some things that you should bring with you?
Always bring water, extra water. Bring your cell phone. Your cell phone fully charged, and know that you can text 911 just in case you get in trouble and you can't make a voice call. Bring sunscreen, whether you're going to the ocean or going on a hike. You don't want to get any types of sunburn. Always bring a snack if you can, just in case you get low on sugar. Always check the weather.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, along with making, of course, sure that you have the right hiking shoes. But let's talk a little bit about the weather. Whether you're down on the ocean enjoying the beach or trying to ascend Cocoa Head, there's a unique way you can kind of get a weather report if maybe you don't have a data plan or something. You can call in and get that.
Right, so NOAA has a phone number that you can call to get the weather, surf report, any types of wind type of information, and that phone number is 808-723-GET-0.
Very good. We appreciate the reminders, and again, we're going to start to see things busy. People that aren't familiar with the terrain here, they are not familiar with the ocean, so it's important as people that live here that we malama them and make sure that we're taking care of our guests and reminding them about other things as well.
One more thing, many of the state trail hikes, you may need a permit, a day permit, and you can go online to the State of Hawaii's website, and that allows you access to roads. There are some conditions, like if you see a native Hawaiian bird or an endangered type snail out there on the trail, you are required to give DOFA a call and report those sightings.
Very good. Be good stewards of the land and all the wonderful species we have here. Carl, thank you so much for your time today. A reminder to play it safe this spring break, which is happening again next week. A lot more young people out on the roads, in the water, and on the hikes here on Oahu and across the state. We'll send things back into the studio for now.
Thank you, Case. Delayed once again. What was supposed to be a one-week trip to the International Space Station has turned into a nearly 9-month saga for Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams. And just when they're about to return, SpaceX canceled last night's launch. Danya Backus has more.
5.100 launch scrub.
Less than an hour before it was set to blast off, a SpaceX Crew Dragon flight to the International Space Station was postponed. Despite clear skies around NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the launch was scrubbed because of an issue with ground equipment. Veteran NASA astronaut Ann McClain is the mission's commander, with crewmates from the U.S., Japan, and Russia.
Hey, they were all dressed up, but now there's nowhere to go, right? The problem was with the ground system. The Falcon 9 is held to its launch gantry by two kind of mechanical arms that reach around the top of the vehicle and kind of hold it in place. And before they fuel, during the final moments of the countdown, they retract those arms to free the rocket. One of them wasn't working properly.
For Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams, the delayed launch means their long-awaited return from the International Space Station could take a little longer. They have been there since June. Last week, they saw the bright side of the situation during a news conference.
We're here, we have a mission, we're just doing what we do every day, and every day is interesting because we're up in space and it's a lot of fun. So I think the hardest part is, having the folks on the ground have to not know exactly when we're coming back.
Wilmore and Williams' stay was extended after their ride home. A Boeing Starliner spacecraft developed propulsion problems during its test flight. NASA decided to return Starliner empty and keep Wilmore and Williams at the ISS. SpaceX founder Elon Musk offered to bring the pair home sooner, but NASA says that was never considered as a viable option. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And stick around. Coming up after the break, I'll walk you through our first alert weather forecast. Breezy trades and drier air continue today.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
Well, happy Thursday, everybody. Almost to Aloha Friday. Here's our First Alert Weather headlines. Breezy trades and drier air in the forecast over the next couple of days. Better chance for rainfall as we're heading into this weekend, and lighter trade winds as well. We're going to take it island by island for your Aloha Friday over on Kauai. We've got spotty morning showers and partly sunny conditions. Still a little bit breezy out there at times. Some wind gusts closer to 20 miles per hour. Moving down to Oahu, partly sunny and breezy. Wind gusts again closer to 20 miles per hour. 83 in town for a high temperature. 72 degrees as you're waking up. Kaneohe, a better chance for some of those windward showers we've been talking about. Maui County, mostly sunny. Northeasterly winds between 10 to 15 miles per hour. And looking at the island of Maui, 83 in Kahului, 82 in Kihei, and 76 in Hana. Taking a look at the western portions of Hawaii Island, 84 for a high temperature. Still a little bit foggy out there just downwind of Volcano. And over in Hilo, 81. A couple of showers are likely and mostly cloudy as well. And still a little bit breezy on the northern portions of Hawaii Island. Here's just a quick look at our hour-by-hour forecast. East-northeasterly winds right now around 21 miles per hour, 83 degrees in town. And expanding this out, you'll notice we've got really nice weather throughout the rest of today. 78 degrees by 6 p.m. Still a little bit breezy at times, but as we go into the overnight, winds will be a little bit weaker. We also have small craft advisories up across the entirety of the state until 6 p.m. on Friday for easterly winds between 20 to 30 knots. And of course, we've been talking about that disturbance moving in, giving us weaker trades Saturday and Sunday. There's the disturbance. It's going to get closer to us, and because there's lower pressure higher up in the atmosphere, we're going to be seeing some lift in the atmosphere, giving us an increase in some showers. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, a better chance for some rainfall out there. That's really the weather pattern as we're going forward. You can see in our First Alert Futurecast as we're going forward. This is tonight around 10 p.m. Relatively dry throughout Friday as well. But as we go into Saturday morning, that's when we start to see the impacts from this upper level disturbance. Better chance for some rainfall. Looks to be over northern slopes and also windward areas as well. Similar story Sunday morning and Monday morning as well. So an active weather pattern over the next couple of days. Your surf and shoreline forecast: north and west facing shores on the decline for this afternoon. South facing shores small. East facing shores a little bit rough and choppy out there. And of course, here's our first alert 7-day forecast. Mahalo to Vince for sending in that background photo. Thursday and Friday still a little bit breezy out there. Saturday a better chance for some showers, and we're tracking lighter winds as we go into the weekend.
Thanks, Drew. Still to come, the brilliant way a Michigan restaurant is getting parents to come enjoy a night out. We'll show you in 2 minutes.
All right, time for some good news now. I bet you didn't know that you needed a special pair of goggles to properly take in March Madness. Well, Buffalo Wild Wings thinks you do. The sports bar is launching what it calls B-Dubs Vision Goggles. The idea is that you can watch all of March Madness games at once on dozens of screens. The goggles have 4 arms and 5 mirrors that bend and rotate into various positions. The limited edition goggles will be available online for $9.99. Pretty cheap.
You're going to look real cool with those.
I know, the coolest guy around. A restaurant in the Detroit area is offering daycare, or rather night care, so parents can enjoy a date night.
It's a genius idea that's attracting customers from all over. It's called P&O, or Parents Night Out. So Tuesday through Thursday at the restaurant Host Utica, on-site childcare is provided with CPR certified professionals. It's for kids up to age 12. Parents must leave a photo ID, cannot leave the premises. And of course, you're probably wondering about the price. Get this, it's just $8 for the first hour and a half. That's nothing.
$8?
Babysitters is like 20 bucks an hour at least.
That's a good deal.
If there was a brunch spot in town that offered that, it would be packed. I guarantee it.
The most hip-hopping thing in town.
Thanks for watching, everybody.